You go to a bank and they're offering you, I'll lend you the money at 6% all in. You go to a private investor and he wants 15%.
Yeah.
Why would you not go to the bank?
Yeah.
You're going to private investors because you can't get it from the bank, and you can't maybe do it in the creative way that you want because they're much more cautious. But banks are always going to be cheaper.
Hi guys, it's Arsh, and today I've got something really special ready for you. And we're going to be carrying on with the Man Behind the Brand series. And today I'm actually being joined by serial entrepreneur, James Sinclair. James, you laugh when I say that. Why do you laugh straight away?
Just because you say I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Well, what else could I have called you?
I don't know, it's just this. Makes me sound like more than I am.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to keep it a little bit informal. We're going to have a real chat with James because James has actually gone off and built quite a significant business. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely of a size now, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to try and get into James's brain so that hopefully some of the nuggets that James shares with you is going to actually help you on your journey too. So before we do that, I need a small favor. If you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell, every time I release a video, you get to get notified of it. I'm going to tell you where you can find out all about James shortly. Now, as you know, this channel is sponsored by the Property Investor app, which is the UK's first property investment platform, which showcases all kinds of deals all over the UK. Whether you're looking for that below market value deal, that rent to rent deal, that lease option deal, we've got them all there. Now, there are two ways to get involved. You can either go to the website, which is propertyinvestораpp.co.uk, or if you've got a smartphone, go to the App Store, type in Property Investor and download it from there. Now, let's get straight into it. So, James, thank you for arranging to meet with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so it's a long way down here. Where am I?
You're in Essex. You're on Marsh Farm Animal Adventure Park in one of our meeting rooms.
Right, okay, bloody heck, it's a long way. It took me about 3 hours to get here.
I used to have an office near you guys, but I was running a business training company.
It's not a bad drive, really, is it? Not a bad drive.
I think driving's good. It gives you good thinking time, doesn't it?
Well, what I tend to do is that I didn't take any calls yesterday, and I batched them all up so that I returned everyone's calls today.
Yeah,
and that's what I generally tend to do when I'm in the car, and it works really well. It makes it, almost like it's not keeping an eye on the road. I get all the calls done, and it makes time fly.
Yeah,
I think so. Anyway, so let's get straight into it. So, James, do you want to introduce yourselves? Who is James Sinclair?
I'm a business owner. Call me an entrepreneur here in the UK. We pride ourselves on building brands that families love. So we own a couple of outdoor attractions, Marsh Farm, Lee Valley, a big chain of indoor play centres, 9 day nurseries. We make children's arts and crafts products and teddy bears. We've got a big party business called Party Pieces, which is a recent thing. And then we make ice cream. We've got 11 coffee, ice cream, dessert parlours.
So
employ about 1,000 people.
So that is, I'll be honest, employing 1,000 people. I've got a handful of people that I employ, and to be fair, you've got to have a specific kind of character, I believe, to want to deal with that many people. Would you agree?
I definitely believe that, if you want to build a successful business, you've got to employ people. You can't do it all on your own. And, I like being in the space that I operate, the brands.
Do you enjoy the madness? I've very quickly got the gist of, as soon as I walked through the gate and I met one of your employees, she goes, a lovely place. She said it's a lovely place to work, and she's really complimentary of you. And the one thing that I thought was quite cool is when I walked in, I wasn't 100% sure where to go, and I just found the first person. I said, where can I find James Sinclair? And she goes, boom, there.
Yeah.
So it's good that everyone knows you, even though there's 1,000 employees.
Well, they know me here because I'm based here, but I mean, I don't know if they'd know me. We've got a big geographical patch. We've got sites in Southampton, Reading, Oxford, Cambridge, Ipswich, right around to a big, patch.
But you seem like the kind of person that's going to travel around to all these places.
Yeah, I do try and get round to all our sites. Do I get to all of them?
It's like undercover boss. Do you ever do undercover boss?
No, I think they would know me more than that.
Yeah.
Because of my social presence, I'm on YouTube and Instagram, and that my pictures are up in all the venues. But I'd love to get to sites.
Not fancy
more.
Sticking a wig on and.
No, I want them to know that I'm there and trying to assist them and help them rather than catch them out. If you
I get that.
If a team are not performing, it means that we as a business have let them down, not they've let.
No, I completely get that. So we've kind of gone slightly off track. So just don't worry, because this interview is not like a normal interview. I'm not like your professional polished speaker. I like just having an informal chat, because I think that by doing that, I'm going to probably get a little bit more out of you.
Yeah, you do whatever you need to do, Arsh.
So okay, so James Sinclair, I've got a few notes. So you've introduced yourself briefly, and we're going to get into that in more detail. So you started as a party entertainer, aged 15.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You now run an empire that grosses 30 million.
Yeah, we do that. That's the sales we do each and every single year. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's the journey been like? So first of all, why this industry? So most people that will be watching this will have probably known of me from being my property background. So some of them might be thinking, well, why is he interviewing James Sinclair?
Yeah.
And it's
I'm a guy that likes property as well.
Sorry?
I like property.
And this is what we're going to come back on to in a second. Yeah. So there is synergies there. So why this industry? Because when I walked through your gate, I thought, wow, this place is like crack for kids.
That's it, yeah.
Is that, well, I've got a holiday home down in Cornwall, and this lady's got this little shop, and you can, as a child, you cannot walk past it every day without needing to go into it and spending 30 quid. It's almost like once you're in there, you're in kiddie jail.
Yeah.
So I kind of got the same feeling when I walked in here. As soon as you walk in here, you're almost like knowing as a parent, okay, you're here for a few hours, you're going to be spending some cash.
Yeah. Well, we like to think we're good value for money, though. That's why we have so many people come back to us. Yeah.
Okay, so why the industry? Why?
Well, it's just that,
why we're at 15 years old. Where was the light bulb moment where you turned around and said,
I was selling sweets at school, and then one of my mates was a DJ, and I didn't really want to be a DJ, but I liked entertaining people, making people laugh. So I just, I was selling the sweets on this business, I had that sort of mindset. So I just morphed into, I do kids' parties. Very quickly, by the time I was 17, I was fully booked, doing like 1,500 quid a week, and for 17 years old, that's a lot of money. And I invested that into buy-to-let property at the time.
So you started buy-to-let when you were 17?
Well, I saved a deposit and bought one the second I could when I was 18.
Wow, okay. And how's that? Have you still got that property, should I ask?
Yeah, I have actually got it. I've put it up for sale now, actually, because there's a big house in Brentwood in Essex. My views are that if you're entrepreneurially driven and you've got trading businesses, I should have my capital allocated in trading businesses or commercial property, and preferably both. They're intrinsically linked.
Okay, we're gonna go on to that. So I know a great platform which sells investment property, by the way. Mm-hmm. Not sure if you've heard of it.
Well, your one.
Yeah, it's called the Property Investor app.
Yeah.
It's not a plug, but it is a plug. So you started at 15, and what's the journey been like then? So when you started, and then when you got to a point, where did it actually start becoming the business?
Oh, it became a business very quickly. I employed someone at 17, Jean, who come work to my nan's spare bedroom and helped me do all the admin so I could go out and do more income generating tasks. So it just went very big from, by the time I was 20, I had 30 staff, $1 million plus revenue. It was a big business.
Okay, so were you born up around business? What's your background?
I left home my mum had MS, so I didn't really live with my mum. I lived with my dad and my stepmum, and I left home quite early, because I needed a driver, and so I just had to get out, because I was very driven. And
yeah, I get that. So when I was at university, I wrote my dissertation in my final year was entrepreneurs, are they born or are they made? And this is a question that I always ask, because there's certain
I think we have different DNA. I mean, you obviously learn the skill set along the way, but I mean, I am acutely aware that some people have a bigger risk appetite than others and want to keep growing than others. Some people live to work and others work to live.
So where do you fit?
Well, I have a bigger risk appetite and a bigger ambition, and I live work. I love my family; they're very important to me. But I am a workaholic, and I want to achieve, and I want to create things. I want to do things more than the average person. So that would definitely be a big difference between are they made or are they born. You can learn skill set along the way.
Absolutely.
But that hunger and that ambition is part of the fabric of DNA.
Yeah, that's innate. So I completely agree with that. So you can learn a lot of things along the way, and just taking this back to property, lots of people learn about property along the way.
Yeah, and also like with some people are very comfortable borrowing £1 million just even for a buy-to-let property or a commercial property that's very safe and personally guaranteeing it, and some people just will not do that.
Yeah.
So you've got to even the risk, although I see it as very calculated in our business. I've personally guaranteed millions and millions of pounds, and not everyone wants to do
that. I completely agree. And again, it comes down to risk appetite. It comes down to your risk profile.
Yeah.
And as you said, some people will be comfortable with taking that and also adding PGs on.
Yeah.
Other people will think, well, this is a step too far, and that's where the fight or flight kicks in.
Yeah.
And then that's where they struggle and think, well, we're going to back off.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the same boat as you, where I don't mind. I can, as you said very rightly, that risk can be calculated to the nth degree if you know what you're calculating.
Yeah.
So taking this back to property, if you're buying a property, you should know in theory how much it should be rent. You should know what your outgoings are. You should know what your incomings are. You can calculate and you can factor in so many different factors like your void, your bad debt. You can over calculate for this. And if it's working on an absolute worst case scenario, then the best case scenario means it's only, in essence, cash in the bank. Would you agree?
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
So, okay, we share a lot of points on that, which is great. And it means that we've got a lot to talk about. James is thinking, bloody hell, what the hell have I signed up for here?
No, I'm not thinking that. No.
So what's been the most significant challenge you've faced in scaling the Partyman Group, and how did you overcome it? Because running a business in itself, are you involved in the day-to-day? Because like I said, when I came here, I saw you running around. I saw you.
It certainly has. My philosophy for business is E plus M equals S, which is entrepreneurship plus management equals success. And the business owner's job is to employ the best possible management that they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
But when we start something, I'm very, very involved in it, and I'm then looking to replace ourselves with better people than me to do the day-to-day.
And have you got to that point?
Yeah, in the existing businesses, like in our play centres, I've much less to do with them now than 15, 16 years ago when we started them. But businesses, when you're scaling businesses like mine, they're capital intensive. Like to build a farm park, like Marsh Farm, you'd easily need £7.5 million quid, buy the land, build the buildings, maybe more, 10 million. And so it's a very capital intensive business. Got to keep on raising money to grow the business. If you look at our teddy bear and arts and crafts, we're whacking out 100,000, 200,000, £500,000 in stock in a 3-4 month period. Got to keep selling it. You might take once you manufacture it, turn cash back into cash could take 9 months. So that, you're funding stuff all the time. So that's always the challenge.
Does that scare you as well?
That doesn't scare me. It's exhausting at times, because, banks are cautious and you have to prove that, it takes a few years to prove concept and then they will lend to you. So the first 2 or 3 years are always the toughest in business, where you're trying to prove concept and have good management account and proof of concept and repeat customers. And because I'm very entrepreneurial, I just start things with our own cash.
Is that how it always starts? It starts with your own capital, or do you go out and raise from the initial?
Well, I always try and borrow from banks. I never use private investors, but I borrow money, and we constantly borrow money. This year we'll probably borrow 3 million quid and invest it into property or business.
Interesting that, as you said, that lots of property investors all talk about raising money as opposed to from banks and institute. They go to other investors, so
because they can't do it.
Is that because they can't?
You go to a bank and they're offering you, I'll lend you the money at 6% all in. You go to a private investor and he wants 15%.
Yeah.
Why would you not go to the bank?
You're
going to private investors because you can't get it from the bank, and you can't maybe do it in the creative way that you want because they're much more cautious. But banks are always going to be cheaper. And my view is I am the investor of myself, using our own cash flow, whatever we do, and then we'll bring the bank in once we prove the concept.
Yeah, no, it's a great model. And if you were to, people watching this and they're not 100% sure what James just said there, just imagine that you're buying a property, you bought it with cash, you've got it income generating.
Yeah, exactly.
And then 6 months later, you go to your high street lender, you refinance on it.
Yeah.
And you get in essence, you get some money back out on it. And then you utilise that cash, you go again, you recycle it, you go again and go again. Is that right?
Yeah, in effect, that's it. And, once you've got 10 coffee shops that are all profitable, you can go to a bank and get the funding for the next 10.
Yeah.
But when you've got none and you want to open 10 in one go, they don't like it.
Yeah, no, and it's true. So, okay, so what was the biggest thing that you said that you faced then? Was it lack of funds?
Yeah,
are you always at a point?
For entrepreneurs, I know a guy that's very wealthy, and we, talk to the hundreds of millions, and even at his level, sort of, can't get the money in, still you get it eventually. I always get it, but it's not Like if you ring up the bank and say, "Oh, I've got this amazing deal, I need £1 million next week," that is just not happening.
No.
Then that's where your private investors and
But even then, your private investor's still not going to be able to pull it out within a week or so. So time frames. It's amazing how similar we are, because I've never been to a private investor for funding.
Yeah.
Always stuck with institutes. So I was talking with my brother on the way here actually. And we're just looking at our debt level because we're very lowly geared. And Lloyd's, we're just looking at what their rates were. And we think, well, you know what? And actually compare that. We can pay it off and we can be completely debt free 2 years ahead of time. And I thought, well, do we need to do that? Is that the best use of our cash? And then we started thinking, well, in actual fact, why don't we go to, instead of Lloyd's, why don't we go to Cambridge and Counties, who are all over us at the moment, saying, lend off us, and see what they can offer us. But again, that's just a different opportunity. But in terms of, lending is always difficult. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
People that say that lending is out there. Yeah. Let's get that 100%
but
right.
Even like what I try and say to people is, we're a business that makes in excess of 2 million of EBITDA every year. That's a profitable business, and it's always a challenge. Not impossible, but you need to make sure you've got great management, prove the serviceability through good management account, good accounting info that's to hand always, and then security. Those three things, but it's always about the person first. And I think that banks are looking at that more and more. We're just about to do we've got something going up for a couple of million of credit with Co-op Bank, and they're very, very interested in who the person is that they're lending the money to before they look to see if you can afford it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
what the security is. And so who is the person? The management is always the first thing, and we're very good at demonstrating. It still takes time.
So what's the vision? So
I'd like to do more to help entrepreneurs and business owners. While I make the podcast and the YouTube channel, I want to build my personal brand to open doors for my trading businesses. I really want to get to 100 million of revenue, but no, I don't.
Is that the goal? Is that the everyone talks about a vision board. Have you got something written out somewhere where you want to achieve?
I want to achieve building a national brand, because I think that's a cool thing to do, and I want it to be big enough that I can provide my team opportunities. If you've got good people that work for you, they want to be pushed and they want to earn more and do more. And how do you do that? You have to grow the business, and if the business isn't growing, it's dying. And it's my job, my innate DNA, to make sure I'm growing.
Okay, so the goal is hit 100 million revenue.
Well, the goal is to fulfill, whether that's a £50 million business or a £1 billion business.
But then the ultimate question is, will you ever, when you get to 100 million pounds.
Yeah, I'll go again. I'll stop when I don't. I want to be a great dad, I'll be a brilliant fan. I love business.
And we'll talk about balance in a minute, because I think that's something that's come up, I think, a few times already in this conversation, that you're a workaholic. So is there much family time?
Yeah, I like to think so. Yeah, went out for dinner with the family yesterday. I don't work every weekend now. I love being around them. They're great. I've got a 6 and a 3-year-old. They're brilliant. I love working as well. I see work as a hobby. It's not a task.
Yeah, no, I agree. And do you reckon, have you seen characteristic in your children?
Not yet. 6 and 3 is too early. But they won't be made to work in my business, only if they want to go and be social workers and teachers, they will go. If they say, I'd really like to come work with you, Dad, then that would also make me, I'd enjoy teaching them, coaching them and helping them, but that'd be their choice. It will not be, none of this, you're taking over.
So I've got 2 daughters, 9 and 8, and I've seen it already. 9-year-old, she's a born leader.
Yeah.
If I sat down with her and I said, Annie, tell me what Daddy does, how he does it. Tell me all the different types of properties I'm involved in. Tell me where we've got all of our properties. She won't tell me the income level, but she will know what the difference between gross income versus profit and net cash flow. She knows all that at 9 years old. Yeah. She's a very dangerous individual. Yeah. Very, very dangerous individual. So I've seen that, and I kind of nurtured to that. Whereas my other daughter, she's not so forthcoming, and she's a little bit more relaxed. And we don't say, oh, why are you not more like your sister? That's not what we're about. So one's very much like Daddy, very driven, very out there trying to do it. And we've figured out very quickly that the guys both learn in different ways. One likes reading about it, one likes doing it. The oldest one likes doing it like me, the other one likes reading about it like Mum.
Yeah.
So okay, that's interesting. Be interesting to see, we'll talk about family life shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not going to come onto property yet because I want to kind of cover off the party man bits
Yeah.
because you've recently just gone through an acquisition. Is that right?
We've got a few going on, yeah.
Yeah, party pieces.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, okay.
Everyone's talking about that one.
Yeah, no, so tell us about party pieces. So for those that don't know, so what's party pieces? And
Well, it's an online party shop that's 35 years old.
yeah,
That used to be owned by a very famous family. That's why everyone's talking about it.
yeah. So owned, are we allowed?
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it?
Okay, so
yeah.
it's founded by the Middletons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the fascination with this? Was it a good?
Well, I won an award 6 years ago, like an entrepreneurship award, and I was sitting next to someone that was connected to us, and I can't even tell you who the person is, and then they sent an email saying, James, we met 6 years ago, I know of a party business that's got a potential opportunity, would you like to talk to them? And then within 15 minutes I was talking to Carol Middleton, and the business went into administration. We bought it out of administration in what's called a pre-pack.
Yep.
Yeah, we now own that through one of our companies. We own the brand, and we're looking forward to taking it further. It's it's one of the UK's, if not the UK's oldest. It used to be a catalogue shop, and it's a privilege to own such an amazing brand that nationally recognized.
Is it, and what drove the acquisition? Was there a bit of ego in the fact that you?
No, because I walked away. I mean, yeah. The ego is to own good brands. We like owning established brands. Like, I'm very proud to own Rossi Ice Cream. It's a 100-year-old ice cream brand.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to own Marsh Farm, a 40-year-old visitor attraction, very well known in
Were
Essex.
these already established businesses that you
Yeah, 'cause
acquired?
I'm
then?
not 100, am I?
No. Well, you maybe.
No, and I'm not 40. I like buying things that are established that people know, but has lost energy, enthusiasm, and we can put that back on.
Yeah.
I find that very good.
I like the fact that you've seen something. You've seen something and said, okay, this is what it's doing here now.
Yeah, when people know exactly what it is, when you're in the mindset, like if you say to people, what's the best shop in the United Kingdom or in London, Harrods and Selfridges would be probably, one that would come up very quickly. If you said, what is the best shop in London that you have to visit, and those would come up. Now, that is what Rossi Ice Cream has in Essex and London, and that is what Party Pieces has as a nationally recognised brand for that space, and that is very powerful, and that costs a lot of money to achieve that, and time.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. We got that, so now we can put in those energy, enthusiasm into it to take it back.
Fantastic. And what's the plan with that? So you're gonna?
But we are turnaround people.
Yeah.
Arsh. We've turned around, like Marsh Farm. We came here losing £500,000. Rossi Ice Cream losing £500,000. We turned both of those businesses around and turned them into commercially profitable enterprises. We will do that with that business.
Is it the fact that you liked the challenge?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
It's a challenge. The
I'm
fact
not fulfilled. I don't really get fulfilled about buying great business.
No, I agree.
I want to look for, what can I do to make it better?
because let's face it, if it's already great, if you can't add much value into it, how are you then going to be able to?
Well, it's
create
like
the uplift?
buying an investment then.
Yeah.
And that's boring. You might as well put your money into Disney or Google, and just invest the cash and watch it grow. But I'm an entrepreneur, and that would not fulfill me. But we make sure that we leverage what we know. So when we look at the word of leverage, certainly from a property point of view, we're leveraging equity, leveraging the property's value. That's what most people think is leverage. But actually, the real money in leverage is leveraging knowledge, leveraging databases, leveraging brand, leveraging relationship. That's where business completely outweighs property.
Yeah.
And it's much more, if you make £1 million profit in a business compared to from investment, tax efficiency in business far outstrips investment.
Yeah, I completely
But
agree.
not many people get business right. That's why only 5% make.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. It's and you've got to be. I always say, business is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
But I always say business first, property second. And if you really want to do property on steroids, you build a profitable business, then property easy is just like a wall. You go to a bank, you go to the bank and say, look, I've got a trading business here that makes X amount, £500,000 a year, net profit, proper profit. They will back all your property.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And they'll flex the rules because they know there's
They
a
want your
trading
business.
business in the background. They'll give you lower loan to value or higher loan to value ratios, lower. They'll trade the loan. They'll use a debenture on the business. I've done all these things. That's allowed me to get into property that without business, I would have needed much bigger deposits.
So let's move this has kind of taken me nicely into our section now. So talk to us about your property journey. So you told us that you bought the first buy-to-let when you were 18 years old. How's
So I kept on doing buy-to-lets, and
then you've kept them vanilla, just single family lets.
Yeah. Because I was working, my time was in the trading business.
Yeah.
But then I met a guy, a very wealthy guy, the one I was speaking about earlier, and I knew he had a lot of property. How many houses? And he said, many. Well, how have you made those? And where? Obviously, everyone knows that they exist.
Yeah.
But it just, because you don't talk to people that own. And then he spoke to me. He said, look, if you have a £500,000 warehouse, he said you can rent it out for X, and you get a £500,000 house you can rent for X. You see, you get loads more for the same money out. I said, why doesn't everyone do it? And then he said, well, you need bigger deposit. And not many people think about it. You need a commercial bank and blah, blah. It's very hard to get your first one. Usually it's like muck. I mean, we're talking 40 to 50% deposits.
Yeah.
And you're competing with big pension funds that own this stuff. And but you put it in your mind. And my first one I bought for £150,000, and I chopped it up and rented it out to multiple people, and I got 35 grand a year rent off of it. And the stamp duty, because there's much lower stamp duty on. You get capital allowances. There's just so many more. 150, get 35 grand out every year. It's so much.
So if you had two options available to you today, still residential, commercial?
Oh, commercial all day long.
Okay. And that's because you like the business aspect of it.
Higher yields, much more tax efficient, much more benefit.
What's your thoughts on then in terms of the void?
I don't have void.
But in a scenario, and I'm going to probably take this down to street level again now, where if a 2-bedroom terrace house is vacant, there's a very good chance that that's going to be filled within a month. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got, let's say, 10,000 square foot unit, trying to get that filled within a month, maybe a challenge. And maybe.
Well, I don't go. I mean, I do own bigger building than that.
Yeah.
But I operate out of them, like 5 big things like that.
Yeah.
My businesses are the tenants of them. We have a PropCo-OpCo situation.
Yeah.
All the ones I rent out are between 1,000, 5,000 square foot.
Okay.
And I could rent them out tomorrow in the southeast of the country. I don't know the rest of the country. There is such a demand for this stuff.
Are these on industrial? Are these on industrial parks, or are these?
Yeah, and we own an industrial park. We also own other little industrial units.
Yeah. So it's very location.
The challenge, though, is not worrying about renting them out. The challenge is finding to buy them, because they just don't exist in the southeast.
So I think in the Midlands, challenge of buying them is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Challenge of keeping them occupied is, and give you an example. I'll give you an example here.
I think Birmingham is a very active market space as well.
But there's so much available. There's so much available. I could put you in contact with people that would just be able to send you stuff pretty much daily. And so, give you an example. Like yesterday, I agreed heads of terms on this massive building, commercial building. And the story behind it is I can't tell you exactly where it is just yet, guys. But next couple of weeks we will have signed heads of terms. But story with it was that this company, national company, multi-million-pound company, they bought it as almost like a different kind of investment, because they've never dipped their toe into property. They paid the best part £2 million for it. So okay, and then they bought it with this company with a 25-year FRI lease. Because property wasn't their first kind of strategy, they didn't read. There was a break clause. And 6 months within owning the building, this company that's paying them £150,000 a year exercises break. Out they go. They've now got a massive 4-story building sat there, derelict, now being vandalised.
Yeah, but that I don't know about that particular case, but if what I would be choosing is them 2,500 square foot, that joiner, a car fitter, an MOT station, or a small manufacturing company want, you buy them for 200 grand, you get them rented out for 25 grand a year. Love.
Yeah, so I mean, we've agreed a deal with these, and we're just going back and forth as to what we can do. And they've literally thrown the keys. They've said, you know what, as long as you can provide us some income, we're not going to generate the 150 grand that we were previously. And I said to them, you'll be best if you even get 50% of that in its current state.
And you're going to sublet it.
We're going to either sublet it, or we're going to do something. I'm going to go off and get planning for or within permitted development, we can utilise floors 2, 3 and 4, and then potentially there's space for an additional floor on the top.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look at all different avenues there.
So the best thing for me for commercial property is say you like us, we have a chain of day nurseries. If we can own the property in our PropCo that owns where the day nursery operates, and then the operator, which is also us, rents off of us.
Yeah.
There's nothing that is more wealth generating for an individual, in my experience, out of everything I've looked at, than that strategy. You have a trading business, operates property that you have come to retirement, you sell the trading business, keep all the property and rent it, trading business. Just nothing better.
Okay.
If anyone can present to me something better than that, I'm all ears.
Okay. So in terms of property now, it's very much. Have you still got buy-to-lets?
Yeah. I've got. I have. Yeah. But I want to sell them all and put it all into more of that scenario for my trading business.
Did I mention that there's a platform that allows you to do
Property
that?
Investor app. Yeah.
You've got to get him in while you can.
Yeah, you've got to, Arsh. Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of know that from my research. Dipped your toe into this little strategy called service accommodation.
I looked at it, done the numbers, and then decided that I'd make more money from an AST because I buy right. So I bought a block of flat for 600,000 and I'm getting 65,000 rent off of them, which is a very good yield. I looked at doing it as service accommodation. By the time you've got all the furniture, fitted it out, looked after it, the net, what you would keep at the end, was better on an AST. Now, if you don't buy right, then I reckon service accommodation.
Yeah. Okay, so
is that a fair summary?
It's depends on location, depends on what your nightly rate is, depends what your occupancy rate is.
Yeah. And time.
And time, that's a big thing. Not many people value their time.
Yeah.
And so people will go out and buy property, they'll spend...
So we had a third party Airbnb specialist that managed loads of properties, and they said, we would get, I think it was £8,000 a year more minimum on the gross income. But by the time you added in the wear and tear, by the time you added in the paying the electric and all of that, we decided we would net more.
But then on the back end of this, and did you then look at it from almost... So you bought it at 600, let's say best part £600,000. That based on bricks and mortar?
Yeah, just what we paid.
Yeah, based on bricks and mortar. But then, if you ran it as service, because then you're running it as a service-based business, could you then not looked at the income level based on a commercial value?
Possibly. I mean, the big thing about running it as a holiday lets or a service accommodation business is if you could get capital allowance.
Yeah.
Which is a massive tax advantage. Also, if it says a holiday let business, you can also potentially get inheritance tax relief, which is also another massive advantage. So
is it close to any other park?
What do you mean? It's near Southend, so it's in a good tourist town. So they are advantages, but I decided I had a lot going on at the time, and so I just do it on straight ASTs, and maybe in a year's time I'll re-look at it. But changing the sheets and doing all of that, I don't have any of that at the moment. Now, we are buying a hotel at the moment, and so I will be used to doing all of that, and then that might be a different strategy.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's not as hard for someone of your calibre.
No, but it's a
distraction
from something that could be making a lot more money. So it's all servicing, it's paying, we've got a mortgage on it, it's servicing the debt. There is little time that goes into it. And so at the moment, I've decided that's the better strategy because there's more money to be made by putting my brain into business.
So I'm sitting there with the property side of it, thinking, well, could you have not linked that back into the visitors of your park? People that have come here for the weekend?
But it would just be easier to Southend as a tourist town. You would fill it that way.
Really?
You don't need to do anything. We was going to call it Rossi Stays because we've got 2 ice cream parlours in Rossi. It's one of the well-known brands in the town. So we would have done that. But I just thought, well, look, we're making, these were specialist Airbnb people, and they came to the same conclusion than me, is you're making more money as an AST because you bought that. Now, if I bought that for 1.1 million, which is, I think it's now worth on a valuation, then it needs to be done at serviced accommodation to get a return on the 1.1. But I didn't buy at that, so I'm going to go for the easy life and concentrate on business where there's much more money to be made.
Fair enough. Interesting. If someone came to you and James, I might as well ask this question. Let's say one of the guys now, someone came to you and said, James, to be fair, I'll give you £65,000 a year for your 6 apartments.
Yeah.
And we'll give it you on a 5-year guaranteed rent. Backed with personal guarantee. Yeah, we
might consider it. I already do. I've got 2 of them on long-term lets that someone's doing the service to come, but he's doing all the work, and I'm sure he'd have more and do more. Yeah, I mean, I've done that before. I've rented a whole house out to someone on that basis.
Okay, interesting. So this maybe an opportunity here for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so sticking with the property theme, most challenging part of your property journey so far, and how you overcame it. Do you actually enjoy property?
Yeah, I like buying them.
I like
buying them because you can use the security to grow your business.
Yeah.
You can say to a bank, I found this business over here for £1 million, it's making 250,000 profit. can you lend me the money? I'll give you this property to hang my hat on. So you get an income from the property, then give the business the property to the bank to lend you to buy a business making £250,000 a year that you can buy for £1 million and get it on long-term debt. So then you can really...
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree with that.
My strategy had always been for using property to help grow the business.
Yeah.
That's where you make the proper money.
But if you didn't have the business
Oh,
and
I
you
have.
only, but
So
I'm just thinking now for someone watching this, maybe on
You
YouTube
still have
or
a nice
panels,
income from the rental. I just want to do both. So I do the property play, get the income from the property.
Yeah.
But then you see a business really profitable, very established, like another one I bought last
So
year.
the general consensus is property does well. Property makes money. You utilise the profits from that property to fund another deposit for another property.
Yeah, or...
Yeah, but generally speaking, property investors, which are, say, HMO owners, etc., they will then kind of stick to what they know, and they'll probably buy another property, and then buy another property, then buy another property. Probably won't venture out. And it may be, 10 or so properties later.
Yeah.
And if you've had a look at the evolution of what a property investor does, the standard buy to let vanilla. They're then probably from vanilla buy to let, they go to HMO.
Yeah.
From HMO, they then start converting a house into a couple of flats.
Yeah.
From that, they then start dipping their toe into developments. From there, they then start buying commercial.
Yeah.
So, but if you've got to think that's
But
five-step process.
I've done all of that.
Yeah.
Literally done that. I went through that journey.
Yeah.
But the reason I've been able to do more is because I've had a trade in terms of a trading business around. If you look at anyone that's super wealthy from property, they own commercial property, whether that's hotels, office blocks, big warehouse, shops, I don't know. Yeah, that's what they own. Because the capital growth in commercial property, if you get it right, far outstrips residential. Every time I've got many examples of that because I've done both. And then if you own trading businesses, banks always feel more secure in lending because they know that you've got a successful business that's cash flow and is much more resilient, than property.
Okay, so yeah, I get the gist.
You see, you got a day nursery. You own £1 million property that you operate a day nursery out of. Whatever happens to a day nursery, economic turns or up down turns or whatever it is, you're always going to be able to trade because people need to go to work. If you are Tesco's, which is one of the biggest landowners in the country, they are serious property investors. But why does banks want to lend to them over you and I? Is because they've got a very strong cash flowing business.
Yeah, they've got a very healthy balance sheet.
But regardless of the balance sheet, but every day they bring cash in.
Correct.
Regardless of an economic or upturn or downturn, people have got to eat.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, covered a lot of ground. Let's quickly touch on family life.
Yeah,
because this is one of the biggest things that people struggle with. The balance.
Well,
the balance. So when you met Mrs. When you met Mrs. But for your own submission, you said you're still a workaholic.
Yeah.
You can have 1,000 employees.
Yeah, but I do the right stuff, and so most people are control freaks. So I always tell people this.
Are you a control freak?
I know. I can't wait to get stuff from my desk. No, I'm in charge. I appreciate that, but I'm not doing leadership and management, and that's when people don't get anything done.
Define the two then. So
I'll
define
come
just
back
for
to that. I'll come back to that. But if you want to do the right stuff, you've got to do high value tasks, not do low value tasks and high value tasks at the same time. You'll burn out. Just need to get that out of your mindset. And I always tell people this. I've never cashed up, run a payroll, done a VAT return, never locked up, opened up any of our venues, even from the very
okay. So
because I had the mindset that I just employ.
You want to own it, you don't want to run it.
No, I want to grow it.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I don't want to operate it. And if I can do that at 17, because everyone goes, that's all right for you, James. They've all these from millions of pounds worth of work. Well, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I employed someone before I paid myself.
Is Jill still with you?
Jean,
Jean.
No, she's retired now. But a lot of I've had people that work for me for nearly 20 years. They're here from the beginning. Aaron, who's our group MD, worked for me since I was 19. He's still here. People worry they haven't got an office, and all this palaver. You don't have to have all that nice stuff, but people just want to work for a good culture.
What's the philosophy of the business?
Well, so there is that E plus M equals S. We're frugal on costs, so we can be generous on investment. We believe in leadership and management. If I'm doing the leadership role, we're going to bring in people to do the day-to-day. I'm doing the war planning. How are we going to win the war? And then I let my management come up with the battle plans of how that war is going to be won. So, the best analogy is like you're running a school. I'm the head teacher, but I employ lots of teachers to look after the kids.
Yeah.
And what most business owners do is they're the head teacher and the teacher, and that's why they get stuck. And
I'll be honest. Listen to you, I think, to be fair, sometimes I'm the goddamn teacher. So, and I spoke on your podcast a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest mind battles. And again, it comes down to control.
Yeah.
It comes down to control. But I took on board what you said, that in order you have to bring the right people in place so that you can delegate tasks.
Do you know also that lots of business owners or investors or whatever, they cannot fathom that the right thing to do is sacrifice their own income to pay someone else.
Yeah, I get that.
And you might have to do that for 3 to 6 months. And every super successful entrepreneur, from Phil Knight to Richard Branson to Elon Musk and everyone in between, they always sacrifice their own income to employ people. They eat last, but then when they do eat, they eat very well.
Yeah.
And that sacrifice of paying someone else when you're not earning, which I did in the beginning, has been the best investment I've ever made. And I always tell this to people as well. If you like property, you don't think twice about putting 40, 50 grand into a property that you have to put up front all in one go to get a certain amount of income. With a salary, you have to find 30 days or 60 days or 90 days money. Then they should be profitable enough or making you enough more money because you put all your time back that they become very affordable.
Yeah. So short-term pain.
Yeah, I mean, people just seem to be very happy, like in normal vanilla buy-to-let, put 40, 50 grand into property to make £200 a month or less. And you go, oh, when a capital growth would be really good. Whereas with a business, you can literally start a business, buy 5 grand's worth of stock, sell that for a lot of money. You know, just there's so many more opportunities in business. And then property should be a close sector.
So, okay. Kind of brings us, let's go back to family life.
Yeah.
Let's go back to family. So, Mr. Sinclair.
But I was trying to explain that, but how do I choose to work, not I have to work. And that's the big difference.
If Mrs. S turned around and said, James, today we're going out, we're doing this, that and the other.
Yeah, I could do it. If I didn't have a meeting, you know,
But this, if Mrs. S turned around and said, James, today we're having a day out, and you say, well, hang on, I've got some meeting. Mrs. E says this to me, and what I do, I drop the meetings.
Yeah, I don't like doing that, but if there was something on that was essential for our family, then I would move.
Yeah.
And I want to spend time with them. I want to spend the whole day with them, go out for dinner or, you know, do family stuff. That's important.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And it is prioritised.
My wife is very much the case, so she drills it into me. She goes, these are only young.
Yeah, they're
only young for a short period.
That is very true.
Yeah, she goes, that, you know, she goes, you spend all this time at work, you blink, and you'll wake up and they're at university, and then they're gone.
That is absolutely true, yeah.
So she drills that into me pretty much on a daily. So where sometimes I'm rushing out thinking, if I can get to the office half an hour earlier, just get a bit of alone time. She goes, well, don't care about the office. The office runs without you. She goes, take them to school.
Yep, smart.
She is. If I don't eat, I hope she's not listening. I love her dearly, but sometimes but I know why she does it. She does it with all the right intentions. And I can imagine that every entrepreneur goes through the same thing.
But you are also, you cannot ignore the fabric of your DNA. So, you know, you're a hunter-gatherer, you know, or a driven person. But yeah, your children are only young for so long, but they also watch a very hard-working individual.
And I keep saying to my wife, I said, we can make more children. We can have more younger children. She goes, don't you dare. Don't you come near me with too laughing.
Yeah.
But it's tough. So the balance, I'm getting better. I'm getting better at the balance.
I want to be around. I think that's the thing, you know. I like being around my family. I think they're great. And yeah, I think they're only young for so long. I don't get the ump that they come in our bed of a night. You know, I like that because I know that in a few, you know, people have the ump about that. I think, well, yeah, in a few years they won't even know us. They want to know their mates. And So yeah.
Okay, so right. Let's kind of wrap up because I'm conscious of your time as well. So, finishing questions. What advice would you give to? So, someone's listening to this. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs?
Well, probably people listening to this want to do property because that's...
Not necessarily, but this is your point, James, where you say to them, guys, you know what? If you're at this fork now,
I would focus on building a cash flowing, profitable business so that you can go and invest into long-term, slow pound building assets with property. So you have to have fast pound that allows you to invest some of your fast pounds, that's cash flow or a big salary, and then you invest it into slow pound building stuff, which is property or super safe stocks and shares. And then over a period of 10 years, that will build you a significant wealth plan. So that's fast pound, invest slow pounds.
And I suppose...
And choose something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
That, I think, is very important.
That's rule number one. You've got to enjoy it. You genuinely enjoy.
Yeah, I love building dinosaur parks and, going to factories and sourcing new party products or making ice cream. You know, that stuff really gets me going. Yeah. I love the fact that when my days are done on this planet, people millions of people would have been to party that we would have had a part of. Their happiest memories, they would have been to our ice cream parlours and enjoyed our ice cream or eat cakes or been on wonderful days, and that's just the best feeling ever.
I agree. I completely agree.
Not many people get to do that. You know?
No, I completely agree with that. So, I mean, setting up a business then. So, I suppose I've got to ask the question. There's been lots of people drop shipping. So,
but I'm as old school as you get. You know, I don't believe in outsourcing employment. I don't believe in outsourcing workforce. I don't believe in third-party marketing agencies. Everything I do is in-house.
Yeah, no, I get that. But if someone's watching this and think, well, in actual fact, I haven't got a shed load of money to get started.
I did have a shed load when I was 17 and it was all in.
But if someone's, let's say for argument's sake, someone's got a product and they're looking for an agent to create it, so in essence like a drop shipping or a third party agency, would you say that that's a good way to start? In essence, it's like a rent of a business, isn't it?
Yeah, no, so I would probably build a direct service based business that would force me to have like that. I would start with an ice cream van selling ice cream like that and go, right, this is very low barrier, now open an ice cream shop, then build the ice cream factory. And that's what I've done in my career. I did kids party, you start with 400 quid,
you create concept.
Yeah, then I did bouncy castle hire, then I did prop hire, then I opened an indoor play centre, then I opened a day nursery, then I opened another one, and then another one, then another one, then I opened 2 outdoor attractions, then more of that. Then I started a food services business, a food wholesaler, supplying my own companies, obviously a food manufacturing company. So yeah, I look at my food wholesaler business this month, so we do $250,000 of revenue, 170,000 of that revenue is to my own business. So I'm able to set up a very profitable food services business on the back of my own businesses, but I didn't do that from the beginning. It was a step process.
So I'm hoping that there's a light bulb moment literally just clicking there. So for argument's sake,
but don't go for the easy route. People are doing drop shipping and outsourcing and all this palaver because they think it's easier and they don't want to commit paying the bill. Like they know they can switch off.
It's not so much paying the bills. It's about Do you mind if I just give you a bit of a start of where I got started? So when I was 16 years old, and this kind of backtracks massively. So when I was 16 years old, a friend of mine, who I'm still very good friends with today, he turned around to me and goes, she goes, I could drive. So I was on the cusp of passing my driving test, etc. And he goes, she goes, my uncle, my dad's brother, he brings in watches from China, etc. And he goes, he's prepared to, I said, let's meet him. And what we did, we arranged, in essence, at that point, 16, 17 years old, a sale and return business.
Oh, that's good. And that is good.
And so he gave me 1,000 watches at the start of Saturday morning.
Yeah, I've done all that stuff. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's different though. So I think
I was leveraging someone else's asset. I was leveraging someone else's product. And that's the same with dropshipping. We're leveraging someone else's product. And we put it on a platform. But you're building that platform.
But where is that business now? You didn't sell it, did you? You didn't build a brand. You didn't build a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you. No. You're just moving income around and you're basically a broker at that stage. But what I want people to do is think, right, if I'm going to put all my effort into building a brokerage and selling other people's product, that's like moving cans of Coca-Cola. When I think about opening ice cream companies, I want to make the ice cream.
Yep.
I want it to be my brand. I know that I'm putting all that effort in to build that business for 10 years, but after 10 years, someone wants to buy that off of me because I'm not just selling a database of customers, a sales round. I'm selling a sales round, a database, a brand, something to market, a brand that is valuable, etc.
Yeah, no, I get it. And so
it's just, you're going to put the time in, so you might as well think bigger.
Yeah, I completely get it and I understand it. And you like to have every part. In essence, you're building every section out so that you're not reliant on other companies as well. Yeah. You are the master of the company.
No, I look at everything. Whatever we spend money on, once it gets to a certain level, I'm like, we're doing how I want. Come to one of our venues and you buy a slush, we've made that slush.
You've made that slush.
You buy a cake, we've made that cake. You have a party bag off of us. All of those party bag parts are out. Where one of our units made it in our factory, and that's just how we operate.
All the merch.
All the signage that you see in our venues are printed and made. The marketing is designed in-house. There's very, very little we outsource to anyone that's not.
And this company's buying it from this company, which you already own.
So we have 17 companies and they're all buying each other and trading. Whenever we acquire something, we're always thinking, how can we add value?
I like it.
Thank you very much for having me.
I like it. So I really hope. So where can they find out more about James? So
just go on my YouTube channel, James Sinclair, or on my podcast, which is in the entrepreneurship section on all of of the podcast platforms. Just type in my name and I'll be there.
Are you still looking for people to turn up on your podcast?
Yeah, we do 3 podcasts a week. One's my thoughts of the week, and 2 is where I coach business owners on how I would grow their business. Completely free to come on. Just want people to be open and honest. The podcast, gets tens of thousands of listens every single month. Some episodes get 30,000 listens.
Has anyone ever come to you and you looked at their business, you thought, to be fair, I really like it?
Yeah, I would say 1 in every 50 that I talk to. I don't ever approach people.
But if someone came to you and said, James, okay, we've got this business, this is where we are, this is the problems that we're facing. James looks at it and thinks, well, I can add value.
We don't invest in any businesses other than our own, so no.
Okay, fair enough.
We never invest or partner with anyone. We only invest our cash into our own companies. If I sold up some of it one day, then we might set up an investment arm, but that is, at the moment, any cash we have, we want to use us.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so there we have it, guys. Hopefully you've kind of enjoyed that man behind the brand, and he is very clearly the man behind the brand.
Thank you very much.
We've covered a lot of ground there. Really hope that you've enjoyed that. So just wrapping up, guys, as always, if you like more free content like this, I release a podcast every Tuesday at 6 a.m. It's called The Property Rebel. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, just to name a few. As James said, that his podcast is out. When do you release it?
Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and then the YouTube videos out every week.
Okay, fantastic. And if you want to join James on his social channels, so social media channels, you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter.
Instagram, I'm on James Sinclair Entrepreneur. Yeah, James Sinclair everywhere.
Are you on TikTok?
TikTok. Yeah, I'm on there. Yeah, got a big following on TikTok, but my team look after it, but they put my videos on there. Yeah.
Fair enough. So find him on TikTok. As well as that, as I said at the start of this episode, this channel is sponsored by the Property Investor app, which is the UK's first property investment platform, which showcases all kinds of deals all over the UK. Whether you're looking for a below market value deal, a rent to rent deal, a lease option deal, we've got them all there. 2 ways to get involved. You can either go to the website, which is propertyinvestораpp.co.uk, or if you've got a smartphone, go to the App Store, type in Property Investor and download it from there. So on that note, I want to say thank you very much, James. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And I look forward to speaking to you all very soon. Thank you and bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.